Hello and welcome to the Quiver channel. I'm Jason, your host. Here's a premise for you. For me to leave the house, I have to prepare for the apocalypse. And I'm not kidding. My brain has to deal with all the what-if situations of leaving my house. No matter how realistic or unrealistic they are. You go down the realistic path of ensuring your items and make sure everything's sorted, of preparing for small things like what if the scooter breaks down and all those kind of little things, the little reasonable paths. But my brain doesn't work like most people's. And I have to prepare for everything else. My brain will think of a what-if situation, and if I haven't got an answer, just like if I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say to myself, oh, what about this? And if I haven't got a situation solved for that, then I can't move on. I can't go back to bed. I can't step outside my house. A perfect example of this is the dogs. One day I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and my brain said, if you die before the morning, what's going to happen to the dogs? So I had to get up. I had to make sure I had something in place. I had to make sure that every room had a bowl of water in it, just in case I passed away, so that the dogs wouldn't have any problems, would be able to have water to drink. This was like years ago before. This is just the way my brain functions on every level. And that's where we come to this issue. This is my Panasonic Toughbook CF19. It's a beautiful piece of kit. I adore it. This is the one that I was going to be using in the mobile scooter. It ticks nearly all of the boxes, unfortunately. And that's the unfortunate part. It doesn't tick them all. It's both a tablet and a laptop. It's built to withstand anything. But the problem comes from it being from 2012. Yes, it can run Windows 10. It can run Windows 10, no problem. Probably even Windows 11, simply because it's got that security chip built into it. But it has a few limitations. The CPU, which is amazing for what it is, an i5 3320M, it can play a few games, although that's not in any way the priority. The problem is the wireless system in it is extremely primitive, and the Bluetooth system is 4.0 or something like that. It's also very primitive, and the only way to alleviate this is to have two dongles on here, and unfortunately that takes up all the USB space, and it also one dongle for wireless, one dongle for Bluetooth. In doing so, I've given this no longer has any external ports, but the problem is I've by doing so and by using those in this, I have made it so that this unit is now compromised. What do I mean by that? If this was to get wet, water could ingress through these two USB ports. All the rest are sealed, but I can't seal them over the top of the ports, though I need those in for it to function. So I've been on a search for the last few days to see what's available out there. You see, it isn't just about the function, this has got to be an apocalypse level laptop. Why? Because if I leave my house and my brain says, hey, what happens if an asteroid, or you're a meteorite when they come in, meteorite hits your house while you're gone and you lose everything? What will you do? I have to prepare for that. I have to have a laptop that's got everything on that I could restore most of my coping strategies. I have to be in a position where I can handle it via this computer, or whatever computer I do, has to be able to handle it. If we have a hurricane or a storm or something and it destroys some of my stuff, my brain has got to create a coping mechanism. Now my funds are limited and I don't want to buy, in fact there's no way to afford new. To put it in perspective, the new version of this, as in with a modern processor from 2023, will cost you £2,500 to £5,000. These are so engineered, and Dell's equivalent are so engineered that they are never cheap. But we can go. But this was designed and built in like 2011, 2012, 13, 14 years old, coming up to now. It's beautiful. And the fact that it still works shows the level of over-engineering that they have in them. The fact that the rubber seals on the memory slot inside. Yeah, even this. If I look at the back of here, under that's where you put your memory, and you can put the memory in there. It's actually not soldered to the board. It's got inside a double type of seal with a rubber seal within it to make it pretty much fully waterproof once you seal it. It's amazing. That kind of computer solves so many problems for my brain. It's nearly so many what ifs that my brain could ask is solved completely by just having that. And the wonderful thing is, they're not worth anything. The resale value are like £100, £200 maximum. They're only interesting to very niche people. And they're way outside of the use case for businesses, so businesses offload lots of them to get newer versions. So I'm at the perspective now of searching through eBay for the latest models. And by latest models, I mean 2017, 2016. Because they're the kind of levelers ones that I can still afford. But the thing about a 2017, 2018, and even 2019 version, if you look at them, they have modern wireless, they have modern setups, they have modern, even 4G mobile connections built into them that you can put a SIM card in. And that's where the sweet spot, because if I can get one of these, whether it's Dell, Gentac or Durabook, or they all do different ones, it doesn't matter. If I can get one of these that is a tablet, because it's got to be a tablet, because it's going to be used on the go, if I can get one of these that's got all those ticks, all those boxes, that has ideally a 4-core processor, that would be nice. Ideally a wireless 6 or wireless 5 type protocol. I think it's AC type protocol. Bluetooth 5.0 or around that, so it can be used with lots of Bluetooth stuff. And a upgradable SSD or M2, and then a replaceable battery, which they do have. If we can tick all of those boxes, and a 65 or 45 watt USB-C charging capability, then I can do it. And having something like that will create a base foundation for a, oh yeah, I can leave the house, I can go, because in this little computer, this little tablet that I have my whole life, and I can rebuild everything from scratch. And that makes leaving the house so much easier. And then ideally put all the same software on this model as well, so that this can sit there, and that can be my backup of the backup. So this can stay in the house somewhere and say, hey, if anything happens, I've got this to take its place. This is how my brain thinks. This is what my brain's got to think. And there's a few models that I'm interested in. But I'm just going to pause this while I go and have a look. So yes, that is the current situation that I am going through. So take care of yourself, everyone. You are all splendiferous.